It's always in the small moments when it hits you. You're standing in the kitchen, yet again staring into the fridge, trying to remember what it was that you planned on thawing out for dinner. Your toddler is circling around your legs, the dishwasher is whirling in the background, and then your phone buzzes from a text that you haven't answered yet. And your mind is already halfway through the next 10 things, thinking about things like, did I book that appointment? Did she eat enough today? Why was she so quiet at family dinner? Did I ever switch the laundry over? You haven't taken a full breath in several minutes. Your shoulders are tight, you're finding that you are clenching your jaw, and that pulsing tension headache is starting to make itself known again. And what's strange is that the house doesn't even look that bad. The day hasn't even been overly dramatic, but you feel like you're carrying the weight of every little tiny thing because honestly you are. The mental load, the emotional weight, the noticing and tending and absorbing, it all lives in your body. And the quiet thought that slips in the same one that you keep trying to ignore is it supposed to feel like this? Welcome to the Modern Homemaker Mom podcast. I'm your host, Jynae Schmidt. If you found yourself here, it means that you're ready to break free from overwhelm, create a peaceful, well-run home, and finally live with more structure, margin, and stability. Here you'll find practical rhythms, real-life systems, and faith-filled encouragement you need to simplify your home and reclaim your time so that you can show up fully for the life God is calling you to. Let's get started. Now, you may have assumed that the heaviness comes from the chores, the routines that need adjusting, the fact that maybe you aren't managing your time super well, but the real weight isn't in what you do, it's what you're holding. It's not that you're failing to keep your home running smoothly, it's that you're quietly carrying that emotional weight of the entire home. You're absorbing every single person's mood, you're sensing tension in a room before anyone says a word, and you're remembering those unseen things, like when the baby last nursed or what time you need to swap the laundry so that the favorite pajamas are tried before bedtime. You're holding that home atmosphere, and no one taught you that this work also counts. And especially if you're wired with high sensitivity or you feel things super deeply, the weight isn't just invisible, it's very exhausting. Not because you're a weak person, but because it's just a lot. And that heaviness you're feeling, it's not a discipline problem, it's not a schedule issue, it's emotional weight, and no one ever gave it a name. Now, I remember the first time I learned what it meant to be a highly sensitive person, and I just sat there thinking to myself, this explains so much. For the first time, I understood why I soak up those emotions like a sponge, why I walk into a room and I instantly notice who seems off, why I carry conversations home with me or replay things in my head long after everybody else has moved on. And I finally had language for what I'd been doing for years, which is holding everything to myself very quietly. And for a long time, I didn't even realize it because it wasn't this loud, chaotic thing. It was heavy though. So there were days where nothing crazy happened, but by evening, I was feeling completely depleted. My husband would come home and ask what's wrong because he always can sense when something's up. And I didn't know what to say because technically nothing was actually wrong, but I felt like I was just holding on to everything. I was carrying how the dog had chewed and wrecked an item outside, how I couldn't shake that weird comment that a friend said to me, or how my toddler had woken up early and thrown the entire day off because of that. None of this felt like a crisis, but altogether it adds up. And when you don't name that burden, that load, it starts to feel like you are the problem, like you're the one who's too sensitive, too emotional, or too inconsistent. But what I've learned is that it's not that there's something wrong with me or that I need fixing. It's just that I feel a lot. And for women who are like me, who are highly sensitive, it's not about needing to do less. It's about being honest about what we're already carrying. Real quick, can I say something that might hit close to home? If homemaking feels harder than it should, like you're constantly behind, constantly resetting, it's not you. It's the lack of method that actually fits your season of life. Which is why I created my signature offer, Modern Homemaker Method, and right now I'm rebuilding it. Not because it wasn't working before, but because it's time to teach the secret frameworks that I have trusted myself for years. The ones that have carried me through every season of life. Busy, slow, pregnancy, postpartum, interrupted, and still hold. Yes, I teach decluttering and cleaning, but this goes beyond surface tips. This course is a full roadmap for building a peaceful, life-giving home built around rhythms that honor your energy, your capacity, and your actual life. This course is closed right now while I finish these powerful upgrades, but if you're on the VIP waitlist, you're going to get early access to the course, VIP-only bonuses that the public will not get access to, as well as sneak peeks as I build this next chapter with you in mind. If you're ready for a method that finally works, you can become one of my VIPs by going to jynaeschmid.com/waitlist or tap the link below in the show notes. Remember, this isn't just another course, it's the framework you've been missing, and I can tell you it's going to change your life because that's what it did for me. Now, back to the episode. Now, here's the insight that really started changing things for me. You're not just keeping your home running, you are the emotional backbone of your family. And emotional load is still load. It still counts. It has weight. And it can drain your capacity just like physical effort does. Sometimes even more. In fact, a lot of the time I think it's more. And when you stop blaming yourself for feeling tired and you start recognizing those invisible things that you've been holding, you stop pushing yourself into that burnout. Because you realize that you're not inconsistent or lazy, you're just carrying way too much without even realizing it. Now, this isn't about throwing out your systems or abandoning the structure that you have. It's about acknowledging that structure only works when it includes your emotional life too. Because if you build a beautiful plan that doesn't make any room for your actual human limits, your needs, your sensitivity, the season of life that you're in, then you're building a life that cannot hold you. God didn't call you to build that kind of a home. He doesn't operate in emotional denial, telling us that we can't have feelings, we can't have these emotions. When he says in scripture, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden," he doesn't just mean that physically. He's talking about the burdens that nobody else can see, but he does see those things and he does care. Now, if you don't learn to name the emotional weight that you're carrying, you're going to keep mislabeling it. You'll think that you just need more structure, that you need more routines in place, more self-discipline, more margin in your day. But what you actually really need is to acknowledge that this quiet weight has been sitting on your shoulders for far too long. And when you don't name it, the cost can be subtle, but it's also very real. You start snapping at your kids, not because you're angry, but because you are full. You are at your full capacity. You shut down emotionally with your husband. Not because you don't care about him or you don't love him, but because there's just no space left to give. You start believing that you are not cut out for this job as a homemaker, as a mom. Not because it's actually true or you actually truly believe it, but because you've never had permission to feel what you're feeling. Now, this is what happens when emotional weight is ignored. It compounds, it hardens, and eventually comes out sideways, and you deserve better than that, and so does your family. So let's think of it another way. Let's imagine it differently if it wasn't like this for you anymore. You start your day knowing this about yourself, about this emotional weight. You don't expect yourself to be a robot that has no emotions. You notice your limits and then you honor that. When your toddler's move is off, you care, but you don't carry it. When your husband had a long day at work, you can support him, but you don't absorb it like a sponge. And when things are loud and chaotic, you anchor yourself in those quiet moments instead of trying to control all of the noise. You have rhythms in your day that don't just move the house forward, but they regulate you. You're no longer surprised by your sensitivity. You're no longer frustrated by your capacity. You don't spiral when you can't keep up because you now know that your pace was never meant to match what the world's pace is in this fast-paced world that we live in. You were made for a steadier paced life, a simpler one, a life that was spirit-led. You start to notice something shifting in your home too when this happens. It feels less reactive, less anxious, less tight. And it's not because you finally got the right routine in place, it's because you stopped carrying what was never yours to hold. Your home becomes more peaceful because you become more peaceful. Not because life got easier, but because you got more honest with yourself. And God can do so much more with your honesty than He ever could with you hustling 24/7. Now think of a day where you're with your family and you are actually with them, not mentally juggling everything that's going on behind the scenes. If you are ready for rhythms that are going to honor that for you, you are ready for the modern homemaker method. Because it's not about pushing harder, it's about aligning with how God actually designed you to live, like we've been talking about today. And you can join the waitlist at jynaeschmid.com/waitlist or tap the link below in the show notes to get on the waitlist. God does not design you to carry the whole world in your body. You are not the fixer of every single mood or the manager of every moment in life. When you release the things that were never yours to carry, your home starts feeling different, and then so do you. So that's all for today, friend. I'll see you again next week. Don't forget to hit the follow button if this episode resonated, or share it with a friend. And I will see you back here same time, same place for another episode here on the Modern Homemaker Mom podcast. Did something in today's episode encourage you? If it did, would you take a minute to hit subscribe and leave a quick review? It's such a simple way to support this show and help other homemakers find this encouragement as well. And if you're looking for even more support in your homemaking journey, come join our free Facebook group. Just head over to bit.ly/homeroutines. Thanks for tuning in today. I'll see you in the next episode.